the last video of this series, I give a brief history of the Drow as a whole. For this video, I'm going to add some more context around the Lolth-Sworn Drow. From the moment they're born, Drow are taught that they're better than everyone else. They're raised to believe that they're at the top of the food chain. They don't see other creatures, sometimes even other Drow, as their equals. They're also taught that being cruel is a way of proving their superiority. If someone is unable to defend themselves, they deserve whatever torment falls upon them. They're vengeful because not seeking revenge is seen as weakness, and weakness means you're asking to be exploited or even killed. Life in the Underdark is punishing, and resources are scarce, so the Drow are always competing against each other. This is why they're so quick to violence. Drow know how to make alliances when needed, but only as a means to an end. Relationships are risky and usually short-lived, since betrayal is always looming. They tend to go into any deal expecting things to go south, and they only form alliances when the other side is weak, can be blackmailed, or when they share a common enemy. Sometimes the whole idea of keeping an alliance just isn't worth the trouble, so they bail when it gets inconvenient. When it comes to society, Drow are encouraged to be ambitious and think outside the box to get ahead of their higher-ups, but at the same time, they're bound to old traditions. It's a bit of a contradiction. They want to climb the ladder, but their society needs to stay stable for that to happen. They follow traditions because they have to, not because they believe in them, mostly out of fear or social pressure. This tension leads to individual Drow trying to break free and do their own thing, but the community as a whole has to maintain balance and order, even if that means putting up with each other's schemes. On a personal level, each Lolth-Sworn Drow is after the same things: Lolth's favor, power, wealth, and status. Depending on their rank, they have different goals. The higher-ups are trying to make their people stronger, while the lower-ranking Drow usually cause chaos to bring everyone down to their level. The Stolen One was born in the Underdark to a noble family destined to serve the Spider Queen and rise through the ranks of Drow society. But his fate was abruptly changed when he was stolen as a child by monks from the surface, taken far from the webs of his goddess and the violent world he once knew. Raised in the seclusion of a distant monastery, he was trained in the ways of discipline and self-mastery. Words became foreign to him, and silence became his refuge. He rarely speaks, his thoughts conveyed through gestures and the occasional grunt. In a world of constant noise, he remains the quiet observer. His loyalty lies in sincerity, for he believes that pretending to be something you're not is an affront to the self. But as he grapples with his past, torn between the lessons of the monks and the pull of his Drow heritage, he questions whether he will ever truly be free. The darkness that shaped him still whispers to him from the depths. His journey is one of internal struggle, as he tries to reconcile his newfound life with the shadows of his past, uncertain whether the life of a monk can ever truly rid him of the darkness within. The Stolen One is lawful neutral. He seeks balance in all things, but the balance he desires is one of pure control over his body, his mind, and fate. He stands apart, neither fully a product of the Underdark, nor fully a monk of the surface world. He is driven by a need to find peace while wrestling with the darkness that may never fully let him go.
You walk the line between confident and arrogant, a beguiling turn of events.
For those craving a true classic evil Drow character, Elvira Helviar, the Mad Apostle, embodies everything you expect and then some. She was once a devoted follower of Lolth, a low-ranking acolyte in the Underdark Temple under the shadow of the Spider Queen. But in time, her obsession with understanding Lolth's will warped into something far more dangerous. No longer content with simply following the doctrine laid out by her elders, she began to hear whispers that only she could understand. Whispers that filled her mind with visions of power, freedom, and chaos. She became convinced that the traditional teachings of Lolth were shackles, restricting true devotion to the Spider Queen. The Mad Apostle declared herself a prophet, a vessel of Lolth's true unrestrained will. Her fervor became something monstrous, and it didn't take long for her to be branded a heretic. She embraced the title. To her, the label of Mad Woman was a badge of honor. The Mad Apostle believes that Lolth has granted her a direct connection, a power that transcends the narrow confines of the matron-driven system. In her eyes, the other Drow, with their feigned piety and structured worship, are blind. She is the one who truly understands the Spider Queen's desires, and it's through chaos, bloodshed, and upheaval that Lolth's true vision will be realized. Her methods are unorthodox, her rituals twisted into forms the high priests would never condone. Instead of revering Lolth through submission and servitude, the Mad Apostle seeks to unleash Lolth's power upon the world, to tear down the old systems that have imprisoned the Drow people. She believes the Spider Queen does not demand obedience for the sake of control, but seeks those who are willing to rise above the rules and carve their own destinies in the webs of power. To the world around her, she's unpredictable, violent, and above all dangerous. She has no interest in maintaining the status quo of the Underdark. Her goals are grander. She seeks to reshape the Drow themselves, to elevate those who will follow her vision of Lolth's true potential. In her mind, it is she who is the most faithful, for she knows that the true devotion means unleashing chaos, not living in fear of it. She stands alone in her conviction, surrounded by followers who see her as either a savior or a lunatic. There are those who flock to her, drawn by her power and her radical ideas, while others fear her wrath. But none can deny that she is a force to be reckoned with, and if Lolth's favor continues to guide her, she will bring about the destruction of everything the Drow hold dear, only to rebuild it in her own twisted image.
I admit, I like this one's approach. A little genocidal, but effective.
Everyone knows the classic rogue Drow archetype, but what if they're a rogue because they want to avoid bloodshed at all costs? Felindra Zareth was never meant for the cutthroat world of Menzoberranzan. While her kin schemed, fought, and reveled in chaos, she preferred the safety of shadows and silence. Confrontation made her skin crawl, and violence was best left to people who actually enjoyed it. A Drow who flinched at danger, who hesitated when she could have struck, her family made their disappointment painfully clear, earning her the title of the Craven Blade. But if fear ruled her, it also shaped her. She learned how to disappear before trouble found her, how to listen when others forgot she was there. Knowledge, she realized, was safer than steel, and much harder to pry from cold, dead hands. While others chased power, she gathered secrets. Call her cowardly if you must. She won't argue. Arguing leads to fighting, and fighting leads to dying, and Felindra has no intention of doing that anytime soon.
Only some of you are bloodthirsty terrors.
Malice Deer, also known as the Silkfang Broker, is a Drow whose strength is matched only by her cunning. Born in the depths of the Underdark, where the rules of Lolth govern all, Malice is driven by a singular belief. In this world, power is everything. Her reputation as a smuggler comes not from subtlety, but from an unflinching ability to bend others to her will. While she may not always choose violence, she's never afraid to wield it when needed. Violence for her isn't a solution, it's a question. And more often than not, the answer is yes. Beneath her rough exterior lies a sharp, calculating mind. Her loyalty is earned, not given, and she demands it from those who stand beside her. Her crew, her people, are hers to protect, and if you cross them, you cross her. It's something she'll never forgive. There is one thing that consistently gets her into trouble: her inability to turn down a deal. Whether it's a questionable bargain or a dangerous offer, Malice can never resist the chance for gain, even if it means striking a deal with the devil himself. Malice is chaotic neutral. To Malice, the world is full of opportunities, and she is more than willing to take them as they come, regardless of whether they align with the greater good or not. One moment, she's a ruthless businesswoman, striking deals and securing power. The next, she's off on some wild, impulsive adventure, chasing whatever catches her interest. She's not malicious, but she's not afraid to let chaos reign if it serves her purpose. If there's a choice to be made, she'll always choose the one that benefits her right here and right now.
It looks like a drow, but it speaks like a beast.